a retiring member of the board, and a great support of the arts. And he's going to talk about a new idea he has for a creative arts club.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. This is certainly turning out to be a very interesting evening. And what I'd like to, in a few minutes, I'd like to try to share with you ideas that a few of us have been developing for a community building process through an umbrella organization to support all kinds of art in the community. Part of the beginning of this is that just in the 4 years that my wife and I have lived here, we've come to realize that there are a lot of very talented people in many different areas living in the community, and and in many cases, their presence is kind of unknown to a lot of other people who would be interested in them. And so what we're thinking is that what we'd like to do to try to build on this and to build the larger, a broader sense of community, is to organize a Hidden Valley Lake recognized club. There are quite a number of clubs in Hidden Valley Lake. There's a garden club, there are bridge clubs, pinochle clubs. There's a variety of such things. We'd like to initiate something that has a broad base in all areas of art, with making it a Hidden Valley Lake recognized club would make it possible to use the facilities of the community, including this building, for example. Let's see. Where's the magic button? Okay, we'll go with that one. Good. Okay. With one of the important values being to make it a participatory opportunity for as many people as possible. Participation can mean doing something, or it can mean enjoying what other people do, or a combination of both. But these are some of the many potential examples of kinds of art that might be activities that go on under the umbrella of such an organization. We've certainly had we've had a great response to the Murder Mystery Night last week. A number of people have expressed interest in a local community theater activity. That's one example. Several weeks ago at an earlier meeting of this type, we had some very nice music, and I know there are musicians in this community. And in fact, we've found that this building, this room that you're sitting in, is acoustically a very nice performance space for its size. It has really good acoustics. We can take advantage of it. There are visual arts from painting, photography, sculpture, glasswork. There's a whole range of things like that could be the basis either for exhibitions, for workshops, for a variety of activities. One of the thoughts to implement some of this thing is to have periodic potluck events similar to the potluck tonight that would feature one or maybe two of these kinds of artistic activities. It could be music, it could be a poetry reading, it could be any number of things, and there are other kinds of things besides schedule, besides large-scale events that may be of interest, workshops for smaller groups of people. Musical groups need a place to practice. Theatrical groups need a place to rehearse. There are a lot of different levels on which activities go on, and I think involving trying to encompass as many of them as we can fit in here is the best bet for making something happen here. So I think I've talked about some of the range of activities here. In terms of getting started, what we need to do is to get such a club recognized by the Hidden Valley Lake Association, which basically has some bureaucratic pieces to it, putting together a charter, a membership list, the machinery that goes with the club. The biggest thing that's really needed, and the whole reason for having it in the first place, is the interest of people in the community in developing something like this. And so the real reason I'm standing up here is to invite anyone who's interested in any aspect of a project like this to get in touch with me, and let's find out who we are and get together and talk about it and work out a way to move this forward. That's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any questions, Mike?
Of course.
Were you thinking of using this building as the center?
We would use this building certainly for some of the activities. It works for theater, it works for music. It might work for, another thing that I didn't mention is dance, and we've got a nice dance floor over there. This facility and other ones as well, perhaps.
Okay.
May I suggest that we use as a name the Hidden Valley Lake Art Association as opposed to a club? Club has a tendency to be a elite group, whereas association is a little more open and allows for.
And
Unless you have to have club in it.
openness, yeah, that's why I've used the word so far. I agree with your point. One thing that I forgot to mention is that like other clubs within Hidden Valley Lake, this one would be open both to Hidden Valley Lake residents and to South County residents. I think we want to be as inclusive as possible. The community, the South County community is larger than Hidden Valley Lake for sure, and I would like to see as much participation in it as possible. There is a condition for Hidden Valley, for association sponsorship, that that 3/4 of the members have to be Hidden Valley Lake residents. I don't see that as a problem. It works fine with the garden club, for example. I don't see that as a problem at all. And I don't know about the name requirement. I'll have to look into that. But I'm interested in a broad coverage, not exclusive coverage. So.
Two other things. One is, would studio tours be possible? You just went, have participated in.
Sure. Why not? Yeah, that's certainly a
And the
possibility.
other thing is Lake County does have a commitment to the arts, and I know that there is there's a grant for free string
I think
lessons for children.
it would certainly make sense. It would certainly make sense to tie this in. I understand that the Clear Lake Performing Arts Consortium or Association is interested in more activity in South Lake County. Coordinating with other groups in the county certainly. I think. So yeah, I'm open to all ideas for sure. Yeah, one more. Last one.
When I first moved here, and there were all these clubs, and I wanted to join all these clubs, but I felt they were sort of closed. They were entertainment for the people that attended. What I would like is to have a vision that was an offshoot, that we have a club, but we teach the kids and bring the kids into the arts also.
Well, and this need not be limited, this is one dimension of activities that's very, 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 very possible within this framework. I think what we can do depends on what people are willing to bring to it, both in terms of ideas and in terms of time that they're willing to contribute. That's the important thing. And that's a way to build a community. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so I'm the final speaker, and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. So, many of you have touched upon the theme of we need some sort of center, communication and information center for our community. And so what I'd like to talk about briefly is a new venture. Mike Rankin here proposed an e-newspaper at the September 28th event, and as luck would have it, I'd taken out a domain name, hiddenvalleylake.info, a few weeks earlier with a similar idea in mind. So it basically combined his idea and mine to create what we've tentatively titled the Hidden Valley Lake Gazette. This is an electronic newspaper that will provide information and communication resources, not just to the community itself, but to South County in general, and maybe even eventually to Greater Lake County. It's an experiment. I'm going to show you a prototype of it. It's actually gone live on the web as of last night. And it's very sparse, but I'll show you a few things what can be done, and it'll explain why I've been taking lots of photos, because I put lots of photos on this e-newspaper from the September 28th event. So let me first do the demo, and then we'll come back to that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go on to Google, and I have just a minute. I do have a demo here in case it doesn't work, but let me see if I can do a live demo. If I can, otherwise I'll show you a prototype. Okay, so why don't I go to the backup. So one thing you learn in technology is you always have a backup. So the internet worked earlier today, but for some reason it's not working now. So let me just put in a browser. Okay, so put it on to full screen here. Okay. So this is a mock-up, and it would look better in a real browser, but it's better than nothing. Basically, what we have here is a medium by which we can look at many different things. So let me go to events, for example. And what we have here are photos and presentations. So let me go to photos. This is from the September 28th event. And we have a slideshow. And we also have access to, that's because we're not connected.
So we could have an arts tab too, right?
That's right. In fact, there's a place for arts as well. And so the idea here is for you all to contribute and to basically okay, so let me go back to here. So you have business, county, arts, editorials, HVLA, and most of these are empty. So we have a provisional editorial staff, which consists of Mike, myself, Rosalie Cook, and Jerry Mundell. But we need lots of other volunteers to help out, and we need your content contributions as well. And so when is this going to happen? Well, it will happen as soon as you all volunteer to help.
Is it stuff just from Hidden Valley, or can it be
No,
South
it's
County?
from South County. So it includes Lower Lake, it includes Middletown. If we get interest from Lake County, then that's also fine. This is an experiment, it's a prototype. Anyone who's developed technology or anything new, like a new garden, for example, you know that the early stages are somewhat rough and that it sort of has an organic process of developing. We think this is going to be a game changer because, as Will and some of the other people, speakers, alluded to, we have right now a real constriction in terms of the communication and information sources here. And we think that an electronic newspaper like the Gazette will be a true game changer because it will allow for the first time in a structured, systematic way for people to provide information about everything, not just about HVLA association matters, not just about politics, not just about complaints, but about arts and sports and the whole gamut of life here. As so many of our speakers mentioned, we have an abundance of wonderful resources and wonderful people here. What we don't have is a systematic information resource by which you can just go on to the web and find out who's where and who's doing what when. And this electronic newspaper is designed to do that. We believe that if it does have the right nurturing with the right support from all of you and from other people in the community, that it could be truly the one major information and communication resource for South County. So we'd like to encourage all of you who are interested in helping out to come talk with me or Mike, and at least as important, if you could send us your content contributions. www.hiddenvalley.lake.info. You can go on now if you have internet, and you can then contact the editors for each of the sections there and send your content contributions to the editor, and we will publish it. So that's all I want to say. So thank you, and questions, and then we'll break for
I'd
panel.
like to know, I think it's a great idea, but I'd like to know what will be your level of editing.
Well, it will be as light as possible, but
Will you require signed submissions?
sorry, so what?
Will you require signed submissions?
Well, I think this is an experiment. We have to see what's going to happen. I think what you're really asking is, will we have a set of written policy for submissions? I would first like to sort of see what we get, and then sort of write a policy based on that. Because I think if you constrict the rules too early, you could actually filter out a lot of interesting things. Rosalie has a lifelong career as an editor. I have a lifelong career as a technology and science writer in academia, but a lot of my time was spent doing editing of articles of my students, my postdocs, of my chapter author contributors. And I suspect Mike, being also an academic physicist, also has a lot of experience that one I think Jerry Mundell does. So I think that we'll sort of play it by ear. So we're not going to publish stuff that's libelous. We're